heard a new word last week, and I think it describes Ruth Reko perfectly. The word is paradescence. It speaks to those people and things that embody paradox, paradoxical essence. Ruth Reko is a delightful paradescence, someone who is an intriguing blend of seeming opposites. Ruth is an unassuming giant. She's one of those handful of people who has had the most profound influence on Lutheran social ministry over the past several decades.
Ruth is responsible for the creation of and funding of hundreds, if not thousands, of social ministry programs and organizations.
Ruth is a natural leader and has all the qualities of a great leader. I know her as a person who is persistent, patient, resilient, a strategic thinker, a person who cares deeply about the people who work in Lutheran social ministry.
I had the privilege of working with Ruth Reko for several years when I was serving as the director of our ELCA Domestic Disaster Response Ministry, and she was a mentor and a coach for me, and she was an example of service in the Christian life. And I think through her years as a social worker and as her years then for a couple decades now of service to this church, she has been an exemplary model of Christ-like service.
Her intellect is outstanding. She's a very good critical thinker. She's able to take complex issues, whether it's at the congregational level or social ministry, organizational level, and break them down into understandable pieces and parts that we're able to get our heads around and work with.
She is an ardent advocate for women in leadership in the church and has served as a mentor over the years to many women who now are in leadership positions in the church or its social service agencies and institutions.
Key to Ruth's ministry has been nurturing relationships between the ELCA, more specifically the Program Unit for Church and Society, and the social ministry organizations of the church, which are many and diverse and reach across the country.
She knows more about contemporary Lutheran social ministry than anyone else. She reads widely and thinks deeply, but her knowledge is not only encyclopedic, it's also Wikipedic, authored by many, many different people and entries. She knows about Lutheran social ministry through visits and conversations, each entry built through personal relationships. She can be counted on to know the details about Lutheran social ministry, and it's not the statistics that are important to her. It's the people and their hopes and dreams that speak to her heart.
I can recall more than one time when I've been in meetings that have been high-stakes meetings, important issues on the table, some tension in the air. And Ruth has broken through that tension in her own way, in her own style, with a smile or a wink or a comment that has eased the tension and has called the group back to the basics in terms of who we are and what we're about and what we've been called to do. It's a great gift she has.
I always thought if Ruth wasn't called to serve the church, she would be a great diplomat. Her love of conversation and networking and the mission of what this church is the role of public church has spoken to me greatly. I look forward to seeing the many years as she gets ready to retire, what she will bless this church with in the next chapter of her life.
Similar to Jesus, in my readings of the Bible and reading passages in which someone was brought to Jesus or came on their own seeking medical care or were hungry and troubled and so forth, he never raised the question as to whether or not they needed the service. He just did it. He took care of them. He delivered. That's Ruth Reko. She delivers the service. There's no question about whether or not they need it or could they get it somewhere else. They came to us. They found their way to us. Someone brought them through their application to us. And Ruth makes sure that they get the service that they need.